Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. I would like to title this morning's segment, Saved by the Blood of the Lamb. Once again, I like to title this morning's segment, Saved by the Blood of the Lamb. Now, the Romans/Christians Catholics first, they were Catholics first, and then the Protestant Reformation took place, and all of a sudden they became Christians and all the different denominations thereof. Now, the Christian, the Roman, the Catholic will say they're saved by the blood of the Lamb. They have taken that which belongs to the children of Israel and have copied it, plagiarized it, and came up with something different, something that we have never heard of, something that's never been heard of, never been used, never been seen before. And of all the feast days and holy days that we were given, we were not given anything called an Easter Sunday or a Palm Sunday or a Good Friday. It does not exist within the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We were strictly prohibited, and we were instructed that there should be no addition to any of the Most High's laws, any of them. And the feast days and the holy days of the Most High, they are laws. They are to be obeyed throughout the generations. I had one time a brother came up and told me one day, he said, I'm saved by the blood of the Lamb. I have the blood of JC dripping off of me. I about fell on the floor and laughed in his face. This is the lack of knowledge that the Most High speaks of when he says his people suffer for a lack of knowledge. They do not understand. Most importantly, they do not seek to increase knowledge or to understand. When this man said this to me, I realized I was dealing with a man that does not read and have never considered that which he has been taught. So he's going on what someone else told him without taking the time to investigate. So let's look at this saved by the blood of the Lamb madness that you will hear our people say. This pertains to the children of Israel. When we put that blood for Passover on the top of the doorpost and on the two side lintel posts, on those posts, that blood is what saved us from having the death angel come through and kill the firstborn in our houses. So we were saved, we were spared from that destruction because we took the blood of the Lamb and put it on the doorpost. So now the European, the Roman, the Catholic, the Christian, he is made of something entirely different. And he has taught us something entirely different. And most of us believe this nonsense. All of a sudden now, JC is the Lamb. And all of a sudden now, JC is the Son of God. And all of a sudden now it's JC's blood that apparently saved you. And apparently now JC is the one that died for you. This contradicts the Most High's word directly. Now, in the days of old, many of our elders, our patriarchs or forefathers, what they did, they would actually sacrifice their children to these deities. And the Most High would punish us for that thing, for letting our children, for sacrificing our children and taking our children through the fire. Because the Most High has never required a sacrifice of a human at no time. So when we look at this whole scenario, there's no possible way. We know clearly that the Most High said his son is Israel. We know clearly that it was the blood of the Lamb, an actual lamb with 4 legs. We actually know that it is a lamb and the blood of that lamb that allowed our houses to be spared. So we cannot be foolish enough to allow strangers People who have captured, murdered, enslaved us, sold our children, told us these lies. We cannot be foolish enough and reckless enough not to go through these texts and verify that these people are indeed liars, and that which we have been taught and told is not true, and it is contrary to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We were punished for taking our children and sacrificing them unto any deity. We were punished for allowing our children to go through the fire. And we were punished severely for this thing, because the Most High said it never came into his mind. This is a no-no. So we know the Most High is righteousness and he is truth. We know the Most High hates a hypocrite. So you're trying to tell me that the Most High is going to punish us severely for putting our children through the fire and sacrificing them unto a deity. But the Most High will take his son and sacrifice him to his own self. Do you see how silly this sounds? It totally contradicts the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. Now, the reason why this Passover is important, because it's at Passover that they create and bring in this Roman idol, this Roman lie, that he is somehow some sacrifice on the behalf of the whole wide world. When we read Exodus chapter 12, we see clearly that that is a lie. This JC character of the Romans is like an all-purpose cleaner. He can cover anything. He can clean anything. He fits in any spot. However, when you go through the text and you read the text carefully, it takes this Roman idol and strip him naked. And it is exposed for being a lie. He's the son of David. No, he's not. A son of David is a man of David lineage. So he's not the son of David. We can eliminate that. Well, this woman was impregnated by the Spirit of God. The Most High is not going to impregnate any woman like that. There's no woman that's ever had a child on this earth that there was not some sperm involved. It's never happened. Next, the Most High has a law where if a woman is betrothed to a man, meaning she's engaged to him, no man is allowed to lay down with that woman. It is against the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. That's whoredom. So there's no way that the Most High once again is going to be a hypocrite and give us a law stating that no man is supposed to lie down with a woman that is betrothed to another man. But yet, what he's going to do, he's going to go impregnate a woman that's engaged to a man. This is hypocrisy. This is ridiculous. And this is only believed and followed by those who have not gone into the Torah. Those who do not adhere to the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts. They do not know the Most High. Because when you know the Most High, you understand that the Most High has protocols. He has ways by which he established things and ways by which he does things. And they are not off the cuff. And they are consistent. When we look at these Catholics, first of all, remember that the Christianity comes from Catholicism. They're one and the same. So the Christians now are going to have what they call Easter Sunday. When I get ready to go play golf and I drive by some of these churches and I'll see a bunch of them, they will be dressed up and looking silly, celebrating this madness. They are in error. They are in darkness, but they are unaware of it. So now we have the Catholics who have one of their traditions, if you will, is to drink the blood and to eat the flesh. Nonsense. We were clearly instructed that we were at no time to eat any manner of fat and we are in no time to eat or drink any manner of blood. These are the Most High's commandments. And we're certainly not to eat a human or to simulate eating a human of any kind. So once you go into the text, you begin to see that these are nothing but lies, as Moshe had told us in the days of old. We will see clearly that our enemies are liars. And for you to understand what a lie is, you first must understand what the truth is. And the truth is the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. The Christian has now today what they would call an Easter Sunday. When you want to read about Passover, you can read Exodus chapter 12. It explains to you clearly, explicitly, what Passover is and how it's to be commemorated and why it was done and on whose behalf it was done and who did it. It's very clear. When you read Leviticus chapter 23, the Most High lays out all of his holy days and all of his feast days. You cannot find Easter Sunday in there. You cannot find JC in there. You cannot find Christmas in there. You cannot find Lent in there, or any of these funky, phony holidays that these enemies of ours have taught us. And there's no argument here. There's no dispute here. You cannot argue with the words of the Most High. And anyone that wants to stand up against what is being said, we can go directly into the Torah and validate this. And so anyone that goes against these words, or those that are in direct opposition to the Most High, and that will take the word of their enemies and the word of idolaters over the words of the Most High and his prophets. And anyone that's foolish enough to do that will certainly be destroyed. When we look at Genesis chapter 10, we see clearly that all the families of the earth, they have progenitors. They have forefathers. And all of the many different families are named after their fathers. The house of Israel, the forefather of that family, is a man whose name is Jacob. That was later on, he was renamed Israel. So that's how you get Israelites. It's very simple. You have our people running around calling themselves Christians after an idol that has never existed and after an idol that has never had children. Of course he's never had children. An idol can't have children. A man that's created out of thin air can't possibly have children. So here you are calling yourself a Christian when you see these very people slaughtering you every day, lying to you every day, and you know clearly what the history has been when the Christian nations have murdered and enslaved your own people throughout the earth. The Christian nations are nothing but the Romans. That is why all of these Christian European nations, they adhere to Rome. When one of their presidents are elected, etc., during his term, he's going to Rome to see the Pope. Whenever these European nations have conflicts of war and dispute over lands, they go and sit down with that Pope. They don't sit down with Creflo Dollar and T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen or any one of these other idolaters that you see on TV that you're impressed with. Men that's calling themselves pastors. You cannot be a priest of the Most High unless you are a direct descendant of a man called Aaron. The Most High has a covenant with Aaron and his sons. His sons will always hold the priesthood forever. You do not become a priest because you went to seminary school. You are born a priest. Let me say that again. You do not become a priest of the Most High, the strong one of Israel, because you went to some seminary school. You first have to be of the family of Israel. You first have to be of the family of a man called Levi, and you have to be of the family of a man called Aaron and his seed, because the Most High has made a covenant of salt forever with the house of Israel and with the Levites, the Levitical priest. You can't be a priest because you felt like doing so and because you wanted to go to seminary. That's not how the Most High works. So we can see the contradiction and the lies of our enemies. As we look around, we see their wickedness day by day. We see their lies day by day. House of Israel, you need to wake up and snap out of this. Stop allowing a wicked man to try to teach you righteousness. The wicked can't teach righteousness. They do not know what it is. And that goes for Israelites too. You have many wicked Israelites out here trying to present themselves as priests and pastors, etc. They're not even Levites. They do not walk in the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. And the Most High is going to destroy them. So separate yourselves from the heathen. Separate yourself from the ways, their customs, and their laws. Return back onto the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and do them. And to the stranger that will take a hold of the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, you're going to have to separate yourself from your people. And you're going to have to turn to the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and turn to righteousness. So this is a call to righteousness. This is a call for you to go investigate that which you have been told and taught. No one has ever died for you. It's impossible. In the Most High's law, he clearly states every man dies for his own sin. No one has ever died for you. So we're to make all of this clear that this Easter is nothing but a switcheroo on Passover. It's a corruption. It's a lie. It is a lie told with one single purpose: to lead the house of Israel astray. For when we return back unto our God and we pray to him from the lands of our captivity in the ways that we were instructed to pray to him, and we decide to keep his holy days as we have been instructed, what will happen then is what was described in Deuteronomy chapter 30, is that us and our children are to return back onto his laws, and once that is done, then he will return us back onto our proper place, which is the head of all the nations. And he will take all these curses that's been upon us for centuries while we have been scattered, being dummies in the midst of these lands of our captivity. He will then take these curses and put it upon our enemies. So it's within the best interest of our enemies to ensure that this information does not get out to you, O man of Israel. For they understand clearly that once you separate yourself from them and return back onto your strong one, they are done. So this is why we must teach this word. And this is why we must at all times, we must elevate our level of consciousness. We must return unto the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. We must espouse it. We must teach it. And we must show the contradictions between the Most High's laws and the lawlessness of our enemies and their contradiction to all of the instructions that we have been given in the days of old. Remember, this Pope, these Catholics are the ones that actually backed our killing, our murdering, and our enslavement. These Catholics are not any friends of ours. Neither are these Christians. These are the people that have been killing us and murdering us. The next time you see that an Israelite has been murdered, shot down in cold blood, look at his killer. I guarantee you that man is a Christian. He went to church last Sunday. These are some of the realities that we're going to have to face. We're going to have to stop playing silly. The time is now by which we have to wake up and turn back. So the choice is yours. You have been armed with the information. So now wisdom is taking knowledge and putting it into use, putting it to good use. So it is on every person, Israelite or non-Israelite, to go into the text and to make a decision on which way they will walk. But when the Most High decides to bring his wrath upon the earth, there will be no second guessing and there will be no fence straddling. You have to make this decision now. For when the Most High decides to bring this thing on the earth and it begins to increase, there will be no last minute switch ups. Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. and peace to the stranger that will take a hold of the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts and do them. Peace, Israel.